Jackson Podcast.
What's popping with y'all on this beautiful day, man? I wanted to add something to the historically speaking playlist, some content that is specific to us as black individuals. You know, I have a plethora of content talking about and highlighting our history. And Trump has been in office 11 months, and he has been doing things to attempt to remove our history from us. And it's just interesting to see him keep creating this chaos, even though he has been doing certain things that is beneficial for black people also, like getting rid of the migrants and things like that, and just contributing in ways that is beneficial. But he has also pardoned people and stuff like that, but he has also been an agent of chaos, you know, doing chaotic things. And earlier this year, I talked about him wanting artifacts removed from the African American Museum in DC. Him wanting to alter things that talks about slavery in the museum, because I feel as if he don't want that to be something that is prioritized so people can have a connection to it. So when I was reading this article, I said, man, let me get on the microphone and make my people aware that he is removing fee-free day on MLK Day and Juneteenth. Let's get into the article right quick. So the Trump administration has dropped Martin Luther King Jr. Day and Juneteenth for fee-free holidays at national parks for 2026. The Department of Interior, DOI, recently announced its resident-only patriotic fee-free days for 2026, and missing from the list were MLK Day, which has been a national park fee-free day since 2018, and Juneteenth, which was introduced as a fee-free day in 2024. In place of these days commemorating American history, civil rights, and equality, the Trump administration has instead opted to celebrate additional former presidents' birthdays and Flag Day, which is also President Donald Trump's birthday. This is according to Newsweek. You know, this is where I got the article from. I don't want people to think that this is my thought process and this is an article that I wrote, but this is according to Newsweek. They contacted the national park. They contacted the DOI, the King Center, via email for comment outside of regular working hours. So they got this piece and they're talking about why it matters right here. And, you know, it's interesting just to see this, like the removal. What's the benefit of it? Is this a show of force, a show of power to attempt to show people that they're powerless? You know, one of the good brothers called into the live last night, Gary from Watts, California, and he talked about laws, and he talked about the greatest lawyer of all time, Johnny Cochran, and how people are skeptical of his death as of recently because of he was fighting for reparations. That was one of his main goals, fighting for reparations for black people. And he had never lost a case. He was probably the best lawyer in history. And to me, what matters the most, if you want change, is to be able to change law, to be able to alter stuff that's written down. And I feel like he was capable of that change. And I want to know what's y'all thoughts about, do we have any modern day lawyers that can assist in changing law? Because that's something specific that is necessary. Also, before I continue reading, when was the last time y'all paid to go to a national park? What national park did you pay to go to? Because I've been to a few national parks. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park. I went to Clingman's Dome, Cades Cove, and the Great Smoky Mountains. And I didn't even pay to park, let alone pay an entrance fee. I've been to Yellowstone Park. It was free. A lot of national parks are free. So I don't understand this fee-free day so far. But let me continue to read why it matters. MLK Day is a federal holiday that celebrates civil rights leaders' contributions and legacy of promoting equality and justice in the country, while Juneteenth also is a federal holiday, commemorates the end of slavery in the United States. The removal of these days as fee-free national holidays follows the Trump administration's pause on certain days of remembrance, including MLK Day and Juneteenth earlier this year as part of the president's ban on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Trump was criticized by some earlier this year for hosting military parades on June 14th, the day of his 79th birthday, although he said the spectacle was not about his birthday, and was instead to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. You know, that was interesting because when I watched that, I wasn't thinking about his birthday. I wasn't thinking about the 250th anniversary of the Army. I was thinking that it was a show of force to show the rest of the world that we're prepared for anything. And I felt as if that was necessary because just a few months after that had happened, China came with they showed out, to be honest with you, when they showed their military and they had their military parade. But I felt like it was necessary because the United States need to remind individuals protecting the country is something that I prioritize. And I felt like that was necessary. But I do feel like removing fee-free days is unnecessary for Juneteenth and MLK Jr. Day. But as long as it's still a holiday and it's celebrated, then I'm not all for the removal of it being fee-free, but I'm for the days remaining holidays. What to know? The DOI announced 2026 fee-free National Park Days and a broader update on its aim to modernize park access and prioritize affordability for American families, which is in keeping with Trump's America's First policy. For 2025, the fee-free days in national parks included. I want to know what national parks is charging a fee. The MLK Day, the first day of National Park Week, Juneteenth, the anniversary of the Great American Outdoors Act, National Public Lands Day, Veterans Day, November the 11th. So those was the days this year in 2025. But for next year coming up, it's more though. So that year it was 6. This year coming up is going to be 8. But they're removing the days that is celebrating black. Very, very interesting. And adding additional days that's not even necessary. Why do the president need to be celebrated? He's always celebrated. He got security for the rest of his life, finances for the rest of his life. It's just unnecessary. So President's Day, Memorial Day, Flag Day, Independence Day, the 110th birthday of the National Park Service, Constitution Day, Theodore Roosevelt's birthday, Veterans Day. So let me continue to read. These days chosen are usually a combination of federal holidays, public land observations, and commemorative days. For next year, these days chosen seem to fall in line with Trump's administration America's First policy. So, removing the black holidays, is that saying that we're not Americans or we're not prioritized as Americans? Since you're saying America first, what that racism is doing to me is causing so much division and the downfall of America that is actually sad because we are indigenous to this land. We are foundational to this land. A lot of us didn't even come from other lands. We originate here. So we are Americans and we should be prioritized. Last night on last night's live, we talked a lot about how people come from other countries and get access to leadership and become leaders. Like I looked at the governors and stuff and certain mayors and all of that, and they're not foundational to this country. And it needs to be a law put in place that you have to be born, bred American to be in leadership. That's just my perspective of it. Let me continue reading. The new passes also feature Trump's face. His ego is through the ceiling, man. According to people alongside a portrait of George Washington, the DOI also said there will be new fees brought in for foreign visitors. Americans will pay an annual cost of $80, while the annual pass will cost non-residents $250. Non-residents without an annual pass will pay $100 per person fee to enter 11 of the most visited parks in addition to standard fees. Tell me what parks these is. So Secretary of Interior Doug Burgum said in a statement, President Trump's leadership always put American families first. These policies ensure the U.S. taxpayers who already support the national park system continue to enjoy affordable access, while international visitors contribute their fair share to maintaining and improving our parks for future generations. Murray Francis Berry, a professor of American social thought, and history at the University of Pennsylvania told Newsweek, the removal of MLK Day and Juneteenth from fee-free days just helps to accelerate the trend toward reducing information about our nation's struggle towards liberty and justice for all. And all this as we prepare to celebrate the Declaration of Independence. Wow. That is true. Liberty and justice for all. But what's crazy is that when you think about all, they don't view us. I remember one time we was 1/4 or 3/4 of a man or something like that. They didn't even consider us humans. And now they don't even consider us as Americans when we fought in all the wars against these people that's coming over here receiving benefits before us, when we contributed to the building of this country to make this country the richest country on the planet. It's just interesting to not be prioritized as Americans, but there's no liberty and justice for all. So Tyree Moore, the executive director of Soul Track Outdoors, a nonprofit that connects urban communities of color to the outdoors. This policy shift is deeply concerning, removing fee-free entry days on MLK Day and Juneteenth sends a troubling message about our nation's national parks. R4. These holidays hold profound cultural and historical significance for Black communities, and eliminating them as access points feel like a direct target of the very groups who already face systematic barriers to outdoors. So, I just want to make my people aware of what's being done. I know we talk a lot about receiving and getting reparations and fighting for reparations and unifying for one agenda so we can receive tangibles for our presence and our vote and our support. But they consistently are removing things from us. They are altering our museums. They're removing historical landmarks. They are removing fee-free things and wanting to charge us. I understand upcharging, the people that is not legally from here and the people that are not indigenous to this land. But Trump is showing that he still has a disdain for the growth of Black people in totality. Thank y'all for tuning in to my show. Let's further the discussion in the comment section below. Peace, love, plenty of abundance. Make sure you go get you some money. And I'm gone. Chill.
The Trevor Jackson Podcast.